But that one where the cutoff marks, when it came up, we have those who said that, look, this policy had always been there. It always has been. But this particular one just happened to be so much focused on by the press. And so it wasn't necessarily that the minister deliberately brought that policy out. So was it that they expected that she was supposed to change that entire procedure irrespective of what has been obtainable before now?
Well, again, you find that, like you rightly said, that education, no nation can really develop without a very sound or critical mass of educated population. And even the level Nigeria's literacy level, education level is right now, is not enough to really push Nigeria to that development that we are looking at. The level of we haven't reached that critical mass to enable the economy, really grow as it were. So that is one aspect. And then again, talking about the ministry, yes, I agree that there was maybe the thing was that we didn't know that this policy was already in existence before she came in. But it was during her tenure that this issue came up. So that is why people focus on that, which is good because it needs to be changed. So that more people could just compete, make it a level playing field for everyone.
Okay.
And again, you find that there's no clear policy about the policy direction where education is taking us to. The quality, even though we expect that by now it should have been improving, but we have not seen that.
All right, one wonders then, if in a certain ministry, the minister of state stays, some also ask that, look, after all, both parties were the ones in the driving seat by design somehow of those particular policies, to the extent that in some cases, the Minister of State handles some aspect while the Minister oversees perhaps generally. And so some suggest, what's the rationale, perhaps, you think, of removing the Minister and leaving a Minister of State? Perhaps, is this strategic, or are they supposed to... What was the rationale behind that, you think?
Well, yeah, you agree that in any succession, in any organization, let me take that for example, you must have at least two people doing the same job that can do the same job. In case one is not there, the other one can carry on. I think it's in order, rather than having that place, and you see the confusion in some ministries where both the minister and the Minister of State have been removed, and they have to, second that ministry to another minister. And that is the challenge I have with this. Before you sack anybody, you must have some people that will take over immediately. Let's take, for instance, Foreign Affairs. They're supposed to be having an event today, and with this announcement, you wonder, the question is, will the event hold today because the minister has been removed? And there's nobody to continue. So for continuity, the Minister of State should take over. And, in some cases, sometimes you find that in performance, even though they are doing the same thing, but in the education sector, at one point in time, I forgot that there was a minister. I thought that the Minister of State was a substantive minister.
Why?
Because he was the one making sure that some of these projects that the president wanted done were done, and I've seen him on TV telling contractors that they were not doing the right thing.
But we have some
TV, talking to some governors.
But some people also said that that university, I beg your pardon, the cutoff marks which you highlighted, that he was supposed to oversee it.
Okay, that's the Minister of State.
Yeah.
Okay. So he needed, yes, exactly. So, but we didn't know that he was, because Nigerians were not told the way government works. Not everybody understands it. So the minister, being the minister that everybody knows, should the buck stops on her table, even though it's supposed to be the one that they, and probably that was why it was even made public. Because if it were the minister that made it public, I don't think it would have been, so it could be from the Minister of State that the information got to the press, to Nigerians.
In all of this,
in that aspect, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry to butt in. Trying to look at some readings to all of this move, even though the information minister, who also doubles now as the defense minister, Labaran Makwa, said it is to inject new blood. Some would argue that if truly we had some outstanding ministers amongst them, that would have been a hard sell to the people, because for some, they believe it was politically motivated. But for some others, they say, show us any of those that have been shown the way out that have actually performed fantastically.
Yeah, one is that if you're looking at the political side, yes, there could be political undertone to all of this, but that is one thing. But let's look at the ministries, for instance. Ministry of Foreign Affairs. At one point, I forgot that we even have a minister. And because it was only when the gay issue came up that I realized, oh, there's a Minister of Foreign Affairs. And Nigerians were being maltreated all over the world. Nigerians have been executed. And the ministry was like, they didn't know what to do. And what the first thing that they would do, even some of the ambassadors, was to blame Nigerians, the citizens, for committing that crime immediately. But the first thing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should do was to make sure that Nigeria's foreign policy, Nigeria's international interests,
but I actually,
Nigerian citizens are
I think I would like to comment here. Dr. Mweze, I actually thought we were on the course, because for some, they would say this is almost the second time we're getting a career diplomat come in as a minister. If you're talking about our foreign relations with other countries, some would be asking about what has just gone down in Canada. And that particular ambassador hasn't actually been reprimanded for that particular situation where Nigerians were traveling all the way from different cities in Canada only to be told that their embassy had been closed without any kind of information. But if you look at all of this holistically, do you think, or rather trying to think towards getting some new hands to come in, as they say, fresh blood, what kind of ministers do you think we should be putting in these ministries? Specifically, you are bothered about the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Well, the thing is that when in appointing these ministers, you need to, to cover some or pay back some political IOUs you're owing here and there, and to compensate them for. I think the president has done so by this political appointment. In this circumstance, I expect that he should be looking at technocrats, people that not really in the mainstream, who have some renegades, who have the gumption to really take over and take some decisions, do something dramatic that will, return the president to the good books of Nigerians, so that they will begin to see the president as some performer. Because right now, Nigerians want a president that will perform, and even when the president is doing his own, the people around him should be able to do their own too, because the buck stops at the president table, and anything that the minister, if he does not select the right person now, it will be very, very difficult. So he needs to look at beyond politics, beyond politicians. There are certain positions that, politicians shouldn't be, involved at this circumstance. It's an election year coming in the next few, the next
you know,
couple of
Dr.
years.
Nweze,
So